Hello, how are you? I hope this is recording, because if it isn't, I would be very mad. Anyways, hi, how are you? Today we'll be doing something simple because I really need it. I need to do something just simple and casual and just have some peace and quiet, okay? So today we'll be doing an illustration that was actually supposed to be something else, but I got kind of carried away and lost in it, and it ended up turning into something completely different, but it still looks cute, so I might as well show it to you because I can, right? I don't know exactly what I should tell you. Okay, it's a complicated thing. I think I'll have to remake the idea I had for this for next time, but this was supposed to be like a sort of fan art, and it still is a sort of fan art, kinda, maybe. I mean, yes, but also not what I was intending. It's complicated, okay? I meant to do something else, and then I did another thing. I already told you that. But look, I had an idea, okay? For a video that I'll have to do this Friday, probably. Maybe. And I was trying to sketch out ideas. I had like this vision for this one illustration for a month already, but each time I tried sketching it out, it just didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out, and then I'd have to redraw it over and over again. It just never looked right, okay? You got that? Okay, so I was in class doing my usual stuff and suffering because I'm studying stuff that I wish that I wasn't studying. But I'm doing it anyway. Why? Because I hate myself, I guess. I don't know. And as I was sitting there, I was just thinking about this idea that I had, right? Because I'll get into that like Friday, like in a good way, in a more detailed way, I guess. I was trying to sketch out a composition, and I was like, okay, if this composition is not turning out, I might as well try something else related to that thing that I'm trying to do, right? Basically, I'm doing fan art for a musician that I've done fan art for before, and you have seen it already. I was trying to come up with some ideas, so I went like, okay, if I might as well go for like that one EP that I'm doing the thing from, right? So let's do that. And I liked the idea, so I went with it. My idea was to do this one thing, which you will see on Friday, okay? And I just lost it completely and just went with my own guts and was like, well, I'll do just a Renaissance painting, haha. So fun, so cute. I'm having so much fun doing this. And then when I was almost at the end, I was like, wait a minute. Oh no, this wasn't supposed to be it. And well, this is how we got here. So getting into the painting, you saw me sketch out the thing, line it, whatever. No one wants to really see that, so I go more in depth with the background. The background was very simple. I wanted to do a bunch of grass, so I used my beloved little, stroke painting, outer stroke painting. Strokes. Ooh, mosquito. No. You will die. I will murder you and your whole family. I know you. In there. He's dead now. Will I keep this in? Anyways. Where was I? I used my beloved outer strokes, right, and Krita, just so that that's an automatic outline to the thing that I'm painting inside that layer, the thing that I usually do to draw leaves and background. I knew that I wanted to do like the background, the foreground, and the middle background that's behind the character, a bit closer to them. I feel like I had this conversation already, holy shit, deja vu. Anyways, I wanted to add a lot of depth to this photo and just kind of go with the flow and add lots of greens and whatnot. If there's one color that I barely ever use, it's green and yellow, and I knew that for this I wanted to use green and yellow because plants. Greenery. So I wanted it to be like very old, and when you usually see like these old paintings, they're usually like very yellowish and like they have this rich ochre tone to it. And I find that very pretty and very rich, and like it makes it look kind of golden. It also ages it. I don't know why it ages it, but it's the feeling that I get from it. And I wanted to go sort of for that, while still including obviously my purples and my blues, because that is who I am, and I use a lot of purple and blue as well because I like adding it as a sort of, how do you say, that one reflecting thing that comes from the sky in the background? The background? No, the shadows. I don't know, I forgot it. I used to know the name, now I forgot the name, so I don't know. But basically, I liked adding a bunch of stuff. To add, like, one thing at a time, please. Add some detail to it. I was using like a multiply layer, the usual thing that I do, right, with my purple little guy. But then I was like, no. So I just went in straight with my hand again and just hand picked the colors that I wanted together with the background, keeping the background in mind. Like it had to be like very green and whatnot. Also, I used contrasting colors for this since I knew that I was going to use purple, right? I know purple was going to be the thing, but purple is contrasts green, so that will look good. Especially since I use a very saturated purple and a very mutated? No, muted green, while adding my usual yellow highlights, because that is the person that I am. I always add highlights in yellow because usually I think of my lightings as the sun, and the sun sort of shines yellow and stuff like that, and along those lines, I guess, and I don't know. So I just started hand painting stuff on and like doing the thing. I drew a snake, right, because this has like sort of Bible vibes to it, right, Eve and the snake. And I don't know how to draw snakes. I just kind of went with it. I didn't even use a reference. I should have. I just didn't because I wanted to be very casual and look, I wanted this to be a good time, okay? I wanted to have a good time with it. I wanted to be calm and happy and not suffer, even though I did kind of get stressed out of it because I always have to. And I just kind of went in with it. I have like this brush pack that has essential skin textures, and a lot of those look like scales and like snake textured. Do snakes have scales? I don't know. I'm not a snake expert, but I just kind of went with that and just started slamming it on. I wanted to add like a green and brown vibe to the snake because I know that snakes are they usually brown? I know that there is that one green snake that's kind of blind, I think. But I wanted like to mix in the green, the brown, just to add some of that like sort of realness, but also fantasy sort of stuff, and like make it more, now that I look at it, it's very blending in with the background, right? I don't know, but I added some bites to Eve because my idea for this was different. That's why I added the bites in the first place, and then I forgot what I was going for and I just kind of went with it. So then I had to draw snake bites and do a little bit of drippy red stuff, right? I have to say this in a stupid way because YouTube hates people. And I don't know, it was very fun. One thing that I did again that I had not done in 2 years, I think. I kind of stopped doing it. When did I stop? I don't know if I stopped doing this last year or the year before. But that was just coloring the whole thing. You know how I usually add a base color for the character just so that I know where they're at and not lose them in the background and whatnot. I painted the whole thing in their skin color and started shading, like blushing the skin already while the base color was there, the base skin color, and then added the hair texture and stuff on top of that. I hadn't done that in like, I don't know when the last time was. But I hadn't done that in a while, and I wanted to do that again because it looks good. And also it looks better, question mark? I don't know. But it adds that sort of depth to the skin. And I also then airbrushed the hair, like where the face is, with the skin color to make it brighter and lighter. Just so that it adds a bit of like reflectiveness and more focus to the face in itself. The face turned out cute. I don't know what it is with me. I don't draw side profiles, so the side profile looks kind of I should practice that more. And I don't know, the face is cute, but it doesn't look like my style, so that was a bit weird. And I don't know, after I finished the whole thing, I added the overlay textures like I usually do, right? I put many layers on overlay and use textured brushes and start slamming on some colors. Usually what I do is where the shadows are, where I know that the light isn't hitting as strongly, I add more cool toned colors like my blues and purples, where also I usually paint in my blues and purples by freehanding those. And during the places where the light hits, I usually add my highlights colors, which are yellow usually. And then I start adding some red and green in there as well. Usually red to add like that, what do you call that thing where the light hits and then it makes like a red outline to the skin? That's sort of what I usually do, following that in mind, but I don't actually do it right. Anyways, that sort of stuff. And I don't know what else to say. I later on added like, I overpainted the thing and added like hair strands flying around, and I sort of outlined the character a bit more, did some more detail on the skin. The skin? No, the snake. What? And that sort of stuff. It was very chill and simple. It just took me like, how many hours? 3 hours? Which is not that much. I could have done it faster. That is for sure. I don't draw as fast as I could because I am too stupid and I keep losing my focus and focusing on something else. I do one stroke, focus on something else for the next 15 minutes and then come back to draw another stroke, and then the cycle repeats. Anyways, here is the finished illustration right here. I hope you enjoyed this little drawing. Next video though, we will be getting into something very, very interesting, and I'm looking forward to it, and you should as well, if you like crazy people. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. And I hope you have a nice day and night. Bye!